What is going on, everybody? It is time for another weekly roundup already, and it's been a pretty chaotic week out there, has it not? We've got Donald Trump inflaming tensions in Los Angeles. We've got these anti-ICE protests popping up all over the country because the American people are rightfully pissed off at these Gestapo-like tactics. And we now have a president of the United States also threatening to arrest Democratic mayors and governors because he's not too happy that they oppose his immigration policy. And to top everything off this week, today, June 14th, we actually have the opportunity to come together and push back against the authoritarian regime. So make sure to visit nokings.org, find a protest near you. Let's come together, have some fun, stay safe, and push back against all of this authoritarian nonsense. So let's go ahead and jump in with our weekly countdown. Donald Trump has already been in office now for 20 weeks, even though it feels like 20 years, which means he's got 188 weeks left to go. And if you are counting down the days, it is 1,317 days until hopefully the Mango Menace gets his ass out of the White House. Now, the weekly roundup is the part in the week where we just gather up a whole bunch of clips that don't necessarily touch on any particular topic, but it kind of gives us a way to catch up on things we missed and hopefully have a laugh or two. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start off with this clip of a Fox News host asking maybe the dumbest question of all time of the German chancellor. If you guys do appreciate my work, please do remember to subscribe.
The president often likes to say that this war would have never happened had he been in the White House. Do you agree with that?
Well, this is theory or speculation, which could be right or wrong, but this war is now happening, and we have to tackle that, and we have to resolve it now.
I mean, what are we doing here, guys? We're now asking the German chancellor if the war would have started if Donald Trump were in office? What, so we can further Donald Trump's ego tripping? I mean, it's so embarrassing what we are doing here in America. The people in the MAGA crowd have convinced themselves that peace would be everywhere if Donald Trump hadn't left office in 2021, and everything would be fantastic, everything would be great, and, you know, it was Joe Biden's fault that Russia decided to invade Ukraine. And now we are asking other world leaders or other important people in the world, oh, well, what do you think about that? Just so we can further Donald Trump's ego just a little bit more. It is absolutely insane. Let's go ahead and move on to this clip, where Peter Navarro apparently still has no idea about when these trade deals are supposed to be done.
Peter, we keep hearing that, you know, India could be next, and the EU is doing this fast tracking. When are we going to have more deals to talk about in terms of tariff deals?
Well, the United States Trade Representative building, I don't know if you've ever been over there. It's right across the street. It's a historic building. It played a really important role in the Civil War, but it looks more like a deli now, where you go in and you get your number and you stand in line, and you do that so you can negotiate with Jamison Greer, the USTR, and Howard Lutnick, the Secretary of Commerce. And that's what we're doing. We've got a formula and a template. We go through 5 different verticals to make sure the American people are protected. And we will have deals. It takes time. Usually it takes months and years. In this administration, it's going to take more like days. We're on task and on target.
You know you're doing something wrong when you've lost Maria Bartiromo. She's sitting over there saying, like, what is this guy even talking about? And rightfully so. This is a guy who has no answers to the question that she just asked. So now he's going on a long filibuster about absolutely nothing at all. Oh, well, you got to walk across the street and you got to take a number and then you get to talk to one of the trade representatives. We're on task and we're on target, guys. No worries here, except I don't have any details to actually tell you. It's absolutely pathetic. Let's not forget, guys, Donald Trump implemented the Liberation Day tariffs. I think it was April 2nd. Does that sound about right? And then he put those in effect for a couple hours. Then he walked back from those. He said he was going to pause them for 90 days, which means Liberation Day 2.0 is July 9th. And the administration kept on telling us that we were going to get 90 deals in 90 days. And we haven't even got a single one yet. And every time these fools are asked about it, they go on tangents like this because we are no closer to deals than we were 60 days ago, it sounds like. Donald Trump had this assumption that all of these countries were going to come, on bended knee trying to make the greatest deal possible. And that doesn't appear to actually be the case. So let's go ahead and move on to this clip where we've got, I think, is this the labor? Chavez de Remer is her name, I believe. And she's talking about how, we're holding steady with our manufacturing job declines.
Now, 8,000 manufacturing jobs were lost in May. That's not what you wanted to see.
Well, we're certainly holding steady, and under the Trump administration, manufacturing jobs are still up over what the last administration under Biden had. The focus of my America at Work tour is to increase those manufacturing jobs, and we'll continue to stay laser focused on that as the president continues to double down on how important this is to the American economy.
But how come we're losing 8,000 manufacturing jobs in May, and when there's a big push to bring manufacturing jobs back to America, how come we're losing those jobs?
Well, we're certainly holding steady. And
what is she talking about? The last I checked, when you lose 8,000 jobs, that means you're not really holding steady now, are ya? She has no idea what she is talking about. And let's not forget, everybody, there was a manufacturing boom under Joe Biden. He added 775,000 manufacturing jobs thanks to the CHIPS and Science Act, thanks to the Inflation Reduction Act. There was a manufacturing boom. And now we've got Trump in office, and he said all these tariffs, we're going to bring manufacturing jobs back like we've never seen before. And we just got a jobs report that indicated that we've lost 8,000 manufacturing jobs. In Donald Trump's first term, I think he lost over 200,000 manufacturing jobs. So they're all full of shit all of the time. Donald Trump is not doing anything that would bring manufacturing jobs back to America. It's just another promise broken, right? Let's go on and move on to Stephen Miller, where he's talking about dominance.
How can the West win the future if we cannot control our borders and defend our sovereignty? So yes, this bill is a recipe for American greatness, and it's a recipe for 100 years of national dominance.
Yeah.
I think this is very, very telling. You'll notice he's talking about the budget bill here, but he said, we are looking for 100 years of national dominance. And I think this is exactly how this fascist administration thinks. I think it's exactly how they approach policy, how they approach different types of discussion, how they approach decision making. It's all about dominance. It's all about control. They want to, spread out their influence in every single facet of your life. And when you're talking about a budget bill, it is just very, very strange for you to say, it will bring in national dominance for 100 years, guys. National dominance. To think that we haven't been on top of the world order for the past, at least 5-6 decades? I mean, that's just absolutely insane. Are they wanting to continue that world order? Because everything else that Donald Trump is doing seems to be pulling us away from that world order. So it all makes no sense. But I do think that this wannabe authoritarian fascist in office, Donald Trump, I think this is how he and his team think about most topics under the sun. It's all about dominance. It's all about control. Let's go ahead and move on to Pam Bondi, where she's talking about suing people because she didn't like the name that they gave a drink. I'm not joking. Here it is.
After the October 7th anniversary, that horrific day, the anniversary of October 7th, after that, they added new drinks to the menu. One was Sweet Sinwar, in honor, a tribute to the leader of Hamas who tortured Jews, who orchestrated the October 7th attacks. That's the world in which we're living, that they do a drink honoring him and can't do that. And so we've sued them. And we're going to stop this from happening. And anywhere in the country, if you do this, we're coming after you. Cannot do this.
Anywhere in the country, guys, cannot do this. Look, I think it's gross if somebody wants to go into their restaurant and they want to name a drink after a prominent terrorist. I think that's absolutely disgusting. But for the United States government to be suing a private establishment because they didn't like the way that they named a drink is very, very authoritarian. Like I said, they want to control every aspect of everybody's lives. Donald Trump wants to put his grimy little fingers into everything. And so it is quite strange that we have the top cop in the United States coming out and saying, we're going to sue these people because we don't like the way that they named a drink in their restaurant. This is not how things are supposed to operate in the United States. As despicable as that decision was, as much as you may not like it, the United States government should not be cracking down on that type of expression. I figured we could all agree on that, but apparently not with this administration. Here's Terry Sewell, just kind of biting Scott Bessent's head off.
I was asked to ask you was, when will we hit the debt ceiling? I know that this big, beautiful bill also means a increase in the debt ceiling. And frankly, I heard you say that that is something that's an imperative. I would agree with that. When do we foresee us hitting the debt ceiling?
Congresswoman, I want to congratulate you. You have a very sophisticated constituency to ask questions like this. That the so-called X date is a...
With all due respect, just because you're poor doesn't mean you're ignorant.
As I said, very sophisticated.
What the hell was he thinking? What a condescending prick. Oh, you've got very sophisticated constituents. They're asking about when the debt limit is going to expire, or the debt ceiling, when we're going to hit the debt ceiling. How sophisticated. What was he thinking? That's all that went through my mind when I saw this clip. Look, talking about when we are going to hit the debt ceiling doesn't seem that complicated. But Scott Bessent sure made it seem very condescending, like, oh, this is not something that her constituents should know. It's a very complicated topic. And that is absolutely... It's insane. These people, I just don't... Scott Bessent, he's just kind of detached from normal Americans. He's living on cloud nine up here while he looks down at all the peasants, and he felt it appropriate to respond to a congresswoman in this way about her own constituents. Quite gross. Yeah, quite gross. Let's go to move on to this clip. I'm sure y'all saw it, but I had to include it because we didn't do a video on it this week. Here's Donald Trump falling up the stairs. And there it is. Do we need one more angle of it? This one's a little shorter, I think. Did you see his face right there? Oh, I think I missed it again. Right there. Look at his face. Look, we are all human. We all have missteps, even when we're walking up a flight of stairs. We've all been there. We all, stubbed our toe on the next step, and we took a little tumble or a slight trip, just like Donald Trump did. But do you guys remember when this happened to Biden? It was front page news for a week. They said we need to invoke the 25th Amendment on this guy. He can't even pick up his feet and put one right in front of the other. He's got to be mentally deficient. Well, where's the outrage now, people? Donald Trump is showing far more severe signs of cognitive decline, and he just fell up the steps too. So where's the outrage, Fox? Where's the outrage, MAGA? Come on. At least we can be honest here on the left that this is normal human behavior, that we've all made this mistake. It's not that big a deal at all. Now, if it's something that continued to happen over and over and over and over and over again every time Donald Trump tried to get on Air Force One or whatever, then maybe we would have a story. But not as it stands now. Everybody makes mistakes, and it's okay. It's okay. Let's go to move on to this last clip. I know we talked a lot about the the protests going on in Los Angeles right now, but they are working. And they are starting to pop up all over the country. And now Donald Trump is starting to experience, some bad polling on his best issue. And I think Jessica Tarlov, she just knocks this out of the park, rhetoric-wise. I think this is exactly how we should be messaging on this issue.
So Gavin Newsom is speaking for a majority of Americans. Right before we came on air, there was a new Quinnipiac poll that was released. So Donald Trump, -12 on approval in general, -11 on immigration, and -16 on deportations. He has taken his best issue and decimated it by making these deportations in a hasty way. It used to be go after the criminals. That's what we heard was going to happen. Now it's go to the nail salons, go to the job sites, go to birthday parties, go to immigration courts. There is now no right way to do it. There is no way to be part of the system, pay your taxes, make a better life for your family, and hopefully get citizenship. Stephen Miller is mad because they were deporting less people on a daily basis than Joe Biden was. So he went and he said, go to 7-Eleven and you go to Home Depot.
Yeah, she's exactly right. He took his best issue and he decimated it. Because they were so careless, they were so bloodthirsty, they were so wanting to go out there and make a show of mass deportations, of the cruelty, of the violence, that now the American people are turning on Donald Trump on his best issue. And this is exactly how I think we need to be talking about this. Look, they told us before Donald Trump got elected that they were going to go after the criminals, they were going to go after the national security threats, and what have they been doing instead? They've been rolling into Home Depots, rolling into 7-Elevens, rolling into, clothing factories or wherever it may be. They're rolling over into all these different places, and they're targeting people who are just trying to work and pay their taxes. They're targeting people who have been here in the country for more than a decade. They're targeting people who just want to contribute to their communities. And the American people are just not into it. And as we went over in a previous video, look, we went over the polling. When you break these questions down, you can ask about mass deportations as an abstract idea, and that poll's fairly popular. But when you break it down into real life scenarios, like, somebody who's been here for 10 years is working as a head chef, the majority of Americans say, do not deport that person. We need to keep that person. Look, what the Trump administration is doing around these mass deportations, not only is it's absolutely brutal for the immigrant populations and black and brown folks who are targeted unwittingly or unknowingly by this administration, but they're just shattering all of our credibility. That used to be one of the great things about the United States. People could come here. We would give them a legal path to entry, and they can come here and build a better life for them and their families. And the Trump administration is trying to obliterate that. And so they're rolling around the country, and they are using these Gestapo-like tactics, and the American people are standing up and say, hey, this is not what we're all about. Now, hopefully, we can continue to be on the right side of this issue as far as messaging goes, because, these mass deportations, they're just terrible. They're terrible for everybody. Housing prices are going to get more expensive because you've got less workers. I mean, it's going to have so many ramifications that we can't even feel or notice right now, but it's going to be devastating. And I think it is absolutely, antithetical to American values to start targeting innocent people and stripping away their due process and then shipping them out of the country. We should be able to do better here in the United States, and I think we need to continue to hammer on this issue because most of the American people are with us. They're with us, people. So we need to keep on hammering on it and, take this issue away from Donald Trump. He screwed it up very, very badly. He took his best issue and he decimated it. So those are the clips that I had for you guys this week. Like I said, I know it has been a brutal, brutal week. We covered a lot of heavy stuff this week, I guess you could say. A lot of stuff talking about the authoritarian takeover, the fascist tendencies that we are currently seeing. I know it's a lot, but like I said, we do have a chance to push back. Today, June 14th, the No Kings protest, we can stand up to this fascist administration and say, hey, this is not how America is supposed to work. So I hope you visit nokings.org. Hopefully you see this video before the protest is done in your area. Go to nokings.org, find a protest near you. Like I said, come together, have some fun, be safe out there, stay peaceful, and let's push back against the authoritarian regime. So those are the clips I have for you guys this week. I hope everybody has a good weekend. I hope your No Kings protest is a day of fun and awesomeness. And I will see you guys next week. So if you guys got anything out of this video, please do remember to smash that like button and subscribe. Maybe share with a friend or two. I'd very much appreciate that. We are trying to build something here on the left that adequately pushes back against the right-wing media ecosystem that just launders all of this fascist nonsense for the Trump administration day in and day out. So if you do like what I do here, please remember to smash that subscribe button. Of course, that is free. And if you guys want to see Donald Trump's chilling speech in front of Fort Bragg military, go and watch that video on the screen now. It is a threshold that should have never been crossed. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next one.